Thank you for tuning in to another episode of JB's Toys and Hobbies. It's time for us to jump in on some Sabertooth Tiger and Mastodon action as part of that 1993 Bandai Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Deluxe Megazord restoration project that we've been working on here on the channel. And we're also going to be jumping into some decal updates that we mentioned in the previous episodes. So let's get started.
All right, jumping right in. And just want to start off the video by saying no, you did not click on the wrong episode. This is the Mastodon and Sabertooth Tiger episode. We're starting off with the Tyrannosaur here because I was using this as an example whenever I was filming the receipt of my reproduction and replacement decals for all 5 Zords. And these are from BD15 Decals and Props. Great website. They offer all kind of different decals and replacement stuff that you may need. I'll put a link in the description of this video. We are going to come back and re-decal the Tyrannosaur and the Pterodactyl from the previous videos, as well as update the Mastodon and the Sabertooth Tiger, as you're going to see here. One thing that I noticed initially upon unpackaging these is some of these are not exact replicas of the original decals, and that was done for a couple reasons. One, these share a lot of similarities to the actual Japanese design. The Japanese Megazord that this Bandai American release was based off of was done slightly differently. So you're going to see some things that look a little bit different on the decal. Some of the colorations may be a little bit different, as well as the shoulder for the Mastodon and the Megazord, the M, the yellow and red M decal is screen correct versus the one that came on the toy originally. And it was just with a miscoloration. I wouldn't say it was a misprint. They just didn't get the color right. But we are going to leave as many original decals on these as we can. We're using these decal sheets strictly to replace either A, missing decals, or B, some that are like just beyond repair. You know, that they're lifting horribly, about to come off, so on and so forth. So with that said, I'm just gonna show you a few more of these decals, and then we're gonna jump right into it with the Sabertooth Tiger. And here we go, Sabertooth Tiger time. Now you're gonna notice instantly, like I said, some of these decals are quite different. The one I'm gonna start off with here is one of the black stripes, or the 2 black stripes that go on the back legs. Initially, I was only gonna do one, but I realized the other side was slightly different sizing. So I come back later and place the other side as well. And that's really one of the only decals, or should I say 2 decals, I ended up replacing on the Sabertooth Tiger. Now, I'm going to point out a few of the differences that I noticed, but most decals were present on this Sabertooth Tiger, but I want you to, I really want to point out a couple areas that there's a lot of difference. If you see that blue kind of electronic looking decals right here that I'm pointing at, and if you look on the decal sheet, it's got a more of a red and blue design, as well as the head decals that I'm pointing at here. That's the variance between the Japanese version and the American version. Had these have been missing, sure, I would have went ahead and used these to replace it. But with this Sabertooth Tiger Zord that I once again got a really good budget deal off of eBay from, I'm going to share the cost that I paid for it right here on the screen so you can see it. But again, I got a really good deal on it, and it didn't need much. It didn't need much at all. I ended up replacing those 2 stripes, and that was it. Decal placement, everything was in great condition. Now, moving on to the Mastodon, now you can see what I mentioned earlier about the M and shoulder design, how on the original version the color was wrong. They had it more of an orange, and it kind of blended in with the red M more. The ones that come with the BD15 decals, they are more of a screen correct version of that, but I'm not going to replace it. Again, I want to keep everything original that I possibly can, and I'm using these strictly to replace decals that need to be replaced. All right, here we are to the Mastodon. This one here, this was my most expensive Zord that I paid for. I'm going to throw the cost up here so you can see. For whatever reason, the Mastodon was the most expensive. I think it has to do with it having like the most potential parts to lose. It's easy to lose the head, trunk, and different parts. But what I had to do was, most of the original decals here were in great condition. I ended up getting this Scotch permanent glue stick. I read about it on the forums. They said it was great for reapplying decals that are lifting. I've used other methods in the past, such as really thin, double-sided tape. But I wanted to give this Scotch glue stick a try. And man, does it work. I'm really happy with the results. You just take it on the lifted ends, rub the glue onto the decal. I fold it back into place and just kind of hold my thumb there for about 30 seconds. And it takes hold, and it's great. I got everything reapplied, which allows me to maintain the original decals, which is my intended purpose. And even though the screen accurate decals that came on the BD15 decals look better, I decided to keep the original 1993 American release decals on there just for that purpose. So now that we've kind of went over the Sabertooth Tiger and the Mastodon, which did not need much work at all, which was kind of a nice break considering the amount of work I had to do to the Tyrannosaur and the Pterodactyl, we're going to go ahead and start putting the decals on the Rex. I'm not going to bore you with the complete redecaling process. I'm going to show you some of the decals that I reapply, and then we're going to come back in and I will show you the update with the fully decaled from there. All right, and here we go. This is with the Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord fully redecaled. And a couple things I want to point out for this too. Like I mentioned earlier, some of these decals came with the original Japanese logo. For example, you can see those black and yellow labels there. That's the Japanese version, and on the American version, it actually has the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers lightning bolt on the leg. That's how it was. That was some of the differences of how it was released in Japan versus the U.S. Versions, and at least that's what I can tell from some of my research I've done online. If that is not factual, if you have some more information that you'd like to share, please add it in the comment section. Again, really happy with those. I'm going to leave all the original decals I can. I don't think the US version had those silver decals on the tail. I could be wrong. I struggled finding the original PDF instruction manual that was kind of show some of the decal replacements. So I just had to go by pictures and various things I found online and did basically the best I could. But extremely happy with how this thing turned out. It's unreal at the what little bit more detail added to it. Again, having those accurate decals in place, it's really cool. All right, and jumping into the Pterodactyl, same thing here. Most of the Pterodactyl decals were in place. I didn't have to really replace anything, but I noticed it had those the little decal strips for the wings there. And again, I'm not sure if those came on the US version or not, but I'm going to go ahead and put them on here just because I like that little bit of added detail. And these are the only decals that we're actually going to have to add to the Pterodactyl. So again, a lot of those other decals I was pointing out, they're already installed, but I'm happy with how it turned out. And everybody, that pretty much sums it up for this episode. I greatly appreciate you all that have been checking out this series. We are currently up to date and restored with the Tyrannosaurus, the Pterodactyl, the Sabertooth Tiger, and the Mastodon. That only leaves 2 more episodes for this series. We're going to be doing the Triceratops next, which required a good bit of work. In fact, Triceratops may have had the most amount of work. I would say the Tyrannosaurus and the Triceratops was probably the most too complicated, but very fun to do. I've been enjoying this project very much. I hope you have. But again, next episode will be releasing next week. But if you would please consider subscribing to the channel. It is my newest channel and latest channel. I would appreciate it. I'm trying to get that first major goal of 1,000 subscribers. Once we get there, I'm going to come up with some form of a giveaway to do. But all of you that have been checking it out and commenting and liking and subscribing, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and I welcome all new subscribers to the channel. And with that said, thank you all again, and we'll catch you on the next episode.